Greetings, everybody. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the New York Mets 2022-23 offseason outlook and approach, the team, what it looks like, what their needs are, and I'm not going to be talking about a lot of the available players on the market, whether through free agency or through trade, because the names are just endless at this time. Everybody wants to talk about Aaron Judge, but there's a lot of channels where you can talk about Aaron Judge, but it's just not gonna be the most realistic acquisition probably for the Mets. I hate to break it to you up front. The good news is that the Mets are sticking to their plan. They won 101 games. This was not really gonna be their year. The main reason, the rookies, Alvarez, the catcher, Brett Baty, the third baseman, they were still in the minor leagues the entire season. The Mets gave us a hint or a signal that they were not going to go for broke in 2022 because they didn't bring in those two key young players until really the very end of the season. These did not become impact players. Now, why do I mention that? Because when you have a team, trying to make it to contendership, after a few years, a new owner, a new general manager, usually there are young players involved. Of course, with the famous 1988 New York Mets, we're talking about Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry. It did take a couple of years until they were established in the lineup before they won that 1986 World Series. I'm sorry if I said 88. It was the same team pretty much in 88, but they won the World Series in 86. Now, let's go through the lineup now. So, as I mentioned, the catcher is going to be Alvarez. Probably Nito will be the backup. James McCann probably is on his way out. Pete Alonso is the first baseman. Jeff McNeil is the second baseman. Francisco Lindor is the shortstop. I read a story today where, they were saying, well, why don't we get Xander Bogaerts or something? Look, once again, this is another Aaron Judge play. We have a great shortstop in Francisco Lindor, and we just are not going to be going for a star shortstop. Third base, of course, I said we got Brett Baty. There's Vientos also, Mark Vientos. He doesn't profile as a very good defensive third baseman. There's Escobar. He's the incumbent third baseman. I think he's on a 2-year contract. This will be his second year. He had an off year. Came in strong near the end of the season offensively. This is a guy, Escobar, who could definitely hit 30 home runs for you, but he's coming near the end of his career. Baty's going to come in. He's acceptable defensively, better than Vientos. Vientos is going to be the odd man out on defense, but certainly it's more likely that Mark Vientos will get a chance to be a designated hitter. Backup first baseman, that kind of thing, backup outfielder. There's just no good position for Mark Vientos. So third baseman is going to be Escobar and Baty will eventually be the starting third baseman. Vientos, a great offensive weapon, but you're just not going to be able to put him on the field. The outfield is the big opportunity area. A lot of people will think the New York Mets outfield might be a weakness. Guys like Conha, of course, are strong defensively. Nimo is on his way out. Remember, the Mets have three main guys up for free agency. There's Edwin Diaz, which is a no-brainer. You got to sign him. He had a great year. It's hard to get, a closer that you're really comfortable with. A closer can make or break your game. A closer can make or break your season. The Mets are comfortable with Edwin Diaz. He did a great job in 2022, and he's not gonna, price himself. The closer's price tag is not gonna be anything like Aaron Judge. So once again, we're not even worried about that. We're talking about, Jacob, the elephant in the room, Jacob DeGrom, the other free agent, and that is gonna be, the question whether the Mets can afford Jason. It's going to be basically whether Jacob wants to stay or whether Jacob wants to leave. He's not going to be, the Mets are not going to be cheap with him financially. They'll give him a respectable financial offer. They might have the best offer on the table, but the question is, does Jacob DeGrom want to stay in New York? There are rumblings he might come here. In California. He might come to the West Coast with the Dodgers, or he might want to go down south to the nemesis Atlanta Braves. Now, we always worry when somebody wants to jump ship and join the Yankees or jump ship and join the Braves. So, from the Mets' perspective, we don't want this to be like Tom Glavine, where you basically had a guy who pined away for being in the Hall of Fame with the Atlanta uniform. We don't want Jacob DeGrom saying, hey, I want to be in the Hall of Fame as an Atlanta Brave. If that's what Jacob is thinking, then no amount of money is going to keep him in Flushing. Now, the third one, again, the big question mark, Brandon Nimo. The problem is, he's a homegrown talent. He is an average outfielder. He had a career year, 102 runs scored was the big, thing. This is a player that is, in the free agent, market. I hate to say it with a homegrown talent, but, he's basically replaceable. He's no Lee Mazzilli as far as the fans are concerned. Another center fielder that left because the Mets didn't want to pay him. I think out of the big three of Edwin Diaz, Jacob DeGrom, and Brandon Nimo, if they keep 2 out of 3, probably Nimo is the odd man out. And the Mets need not one, but probably 2 outfielders rather, because Sterling Marte, is a done deal. They signed him to a free agent contract. He's a good player. He got injured, hurt his finger, and we expect him back, have a good year in 2023. But as far as Kanha, solid defender, but, as far as the offense, he's just not gonna be, pulling his weight. So you got 2 outfield spots, left field and, one of the others, possibly center or right field, where you can fill with a possible superstar. Yes, there is room for Aaron Judge, but it's unlikely that the Mets, between the Yankees, the Giants, and all the other teams that want to sign him. Center fielder is vacant in Flushing. There is a slot there. Of course, we have our big slugger in Pete Alonso at first base. So overall, we're looking at 2 outfield spots that need to be filled. And based on all the other free agents situations, we're going to probably be revamping the pitching. Now, of the starters, we talked about DeGrom. He won that game 2. We want to keep him. Scherzer did not do well at the end of the year. That was a disappointment. Chris Bassett, a very solid number 3 who could go up even to number 1 or number 2 in the right circumstances. Obviously we want to keep him. The odd man out in the starting rotation is going to be Taiwan Walker, because for the second year in a row, he just didn't get through the whole season. His first half was excellent. He just didn't have enough gas in the engine to have a good second half of the season. The Mets are, built to win in the playoffs, in the World Series. They cannot have a second half collapse. They cannot afford to give Taiwan Walker, even with his good overall numbers, 3.49 ERA. What do you want? He's young. You know, he just didn't have the gas to go the entire distance for the season. So he's going to probably be the odd man out in the rotation. This is not a guy that you really want to lose, but with the free agency and all, they're going to let him go probably. The bullpen, there's a few slots that are also facing free agency, and we'll see how they replace those parts. Earth Faith here, signing off on the New York Mets 2022-23 offseason.